You are here on purpose with a purpose by design. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Purpose by Design. I am Dr. Pamela, and I'm so glad that you're back again because once again, Purpose by Design, we are like bowling strikes, getting these amazing guests that just keep coming. And so if you haven't got your paper and your pen out, you're going to want to get it because I can tell you my guest is going to be given some serious gold nuggets tonight. Lots of experience in life under her belt, and she has a lot to share. So before we have her jump in and take off running, I have a favor to ask. Would you please click that little subscribe button if you haven't already? Like it and share it, as my mentor, Mr. Les Brown, says. Please like it and share it. You're sending a message out to the world that says, hey, these types of programs are necessary and needed. And besides, what Mindy has to share with all of us on Purpose by Design needs to go out to the world. So like it and share it with a friend, send it to somebody, tag them right now. All right. Thank you, Mindy, and welcome
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So excited to have you here and so excited for you to tell us, who are you?
Well, thank you again. And I truly appreciate the opportunity to be with your community. I know that this is a sacred space, and so I will be giving lots of value to them, lots of nuggets to take away. I am Mindi Huebner. I'm an intuitive mindset mastery coach, obsessed with helping people rewire their brains. I am a certified NLP practitioner, a clinical hypnotherapist, success, life, and health coach. Lots of fruit salad, I call it, behind there. I am definitely a modality junkie. I want all the tools in my toolbox to really help clients have major breakthroughs and really transform their lives.
Wow, I love that how you brought in the fruit salad. That's really clever. But that is, think about fruit salad and all the fruit and even the yummy whipped cream that's in there. I mean, there's a lot in there to partake of. And you have just a treasure chest, don't you, of experience and expertise. And that's what makes you so incredible, valuable. But one thing that I know just by the short amount of time that we have been connected and been, kind of peeking at each other online too, is you have a lot of experience in life. You're not somebody that just has, a textbook or a degree, right? You actually have experienced life, and that backs up all these credentials that you have. So would you maybe unpack that for us just a little bit? Because everybody's got a story. You are helping so many people, Mindy, and doing so much for people all over. But I know it hasn't always been that way. You have a backstory that brings you to where you are today. Take us in a little journey and tell us about you.
Absolutely. I am married over 30 years. I have 2 adult children with significant others and a brand new grandbaby that is the light of my life. I always say this is a very privileged thing to say. It's good work if you can get it. Be a grandma. If you can, do it. Do it. I have been coaching, teaching, mentoring my entire adult life. And for about 17, 18 years, I was in direct sales, and I coached and mentored and led a large team, top seller, recruiting, training nationally for my company on a regular basis. In 2015, I believe it was, that company, the division that I worked for, closed its doors. And so I was at a crossroads. I had an extremely successful business, was extremely driven, still am, and realized that there had to be a more aligned way of creating a new business because I made great money, was very successful, and I was tired. I was burnout. And what I realized was we cannot out-hustle our beliefs. And the biggest limiting belief that I had was that rest was lazy. And that was not serving me
Right.
because I never rested. It was just this constant 24/7 grind, and it's not necessary and it's not sustainable. So the moment I had this opportunity where I was out of a job, which was great, right? The moment I had this opportunity, I really was able to take a step back and reevaluate. Okay, well, for the next chapter, it's going to look different. It's going to be what I call soul aligned. That's what's sustainable, really embracing a business that serves me first so that I can serve at my highest and best for others.
Wow. I love it when you talked about that you can't outgrow your beliefs, and that how true that is, right? And that your biggest belief that you needed to outgrow was that resting was okay. So
Exactly. Yeah, I believed that resting was lazy, and that was my own decision that I made. It was also came on from the world. There's lots of messages of you got to grind it out 24/7, sleep when you're dead, survive off caffeine and sugar. All those messages that I'm not down with at all. Is there a time for hustle? Of course. And does it get to be what you set it up to be and in a container so that you are caring for yourself as well, so that it is sustainable, so that you can then, when you're at your best, then everything that you touch gets to be even better.
that is so beautiful. Take us on a little bit of a road trip here. How did you come to the understanding that, number one, you actually thought that way, like that this was lazy? Because I'm sure you just that was just inbred in you and you just lived that way.
Yep.
When did you recognize that not only that this was a belief system, but that it was wrong and you needed to change it?
Yes. The first book I picked up that even touched habits and anything like that is by Charles Duhigg, and of course the name is escaping me, but I can see the cover and there's clock on there, and it's a Power of Habit. Maybe it's called The Power of Habit, and that book coupled with some other programs that I watched and just things that I started reading really took me on the journey of how does your brain work? Why do habits show up and are on automation the way that they are? And so what I came to realize was that I had this belief that we can out hustle them. So it was time to shift the belief. So I released the belief that rest was lazy and stepped into and embraced the belief that rest was productive, that rest bred productivity, it bred creativity, which is scientifically proven, right? When we physically rest, like when we sleep, this is when our body does all its regeneration and our brain, everything then gets to reset so that we can meet the next day, right, at our best, recharged. And it's the same thing with resting and hydrating and nutrients and all those kinds of things. So as I did that, I thought, I've always loved nutrition and health, and moving my body was important to me. So my first certification was a health coaching certification, followed by a life coaching certification, and then I just started really diving into neuroplasticity, again, how the brain works. It deletes, distorts, and generalizes based on our belief. So if I believe that rest is lazy, I won't see proof to the contrary of that, because so much data is coming at us at one time that our brain has to filter it so we don't become that emoji with the little exploding head, right? So this is what happens. Our brain then filters that and filters it based on our belief system, and we have internal representations of what that is. It also filters it based on our experience as well. So the beliefs coupled with the experiences then create this very strong filter that until you see or hear or feel something that moves you enough to say, maybe there's a better way, that's when we then get to shift the filter so that we can start seeing the proof of well, there's a better way or there's another way. And it wasn't that, I mean, some people will live with the belief that rest is lazy forever and they won't think it's bad or wrong. And I won't call it wrong. I'll call it, for me, disempowering. It was disempowering to me. It was the moment that I released that belief, everything skyrocketed. My health skyrocketed, my spirituality skyrocketed, my business and what was available to me, everything opened up the moment that I released that limiting belief. And that's what happens. A limiting belief literally limits us.
Yeah, it does. I like how you use that word released. That's one of my favorite words, is to release things, because there is such a transference there when we actually see it as being released and let go of. Like you say, you want to lose weight.
I don't want to find it again.
Exactly. Where I was going, right? So when things are lost, we seem to want to find them. So I just like to release it and let it go. I love it that you said that. So you took us on a little trail here of your journey, where you started with, I wrote down, you started with health coaching, life coaching. There was a few other things in your fruit salad that you have in there. How did you add those into the salad?
I knew. Mindset is the crux of everything. It's the foundation for everything. It's the foundation in health coaching. It's foundation in life coaching. It's foundation in success coaching. Like whatever you want to do, whatever you want to create, whoever you want to be. And that's where the magic is in shifting your identity. And that's here. And that comes from your mindset. Do you have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? Do you believe that you can be the human who? And then we start casting votes for being the human who. And it's all in the identity. The second book I read and reread all the time, it's one of my favorites, is Atomic Habits. And James Clear is beautiful in the way he talks about casting votes. We don't want to read one book. We want to become readers. So anyone can muscle their way to release 5 pounds, right? We can muscle our way to what we call a goal. Most people would call it a goal. A goal is an aim, it's a direction, it's a purpose. In NLP, we work in outcomes because that's what actually happens. So there's a goal, it's guiding us. The outcome is the actual result from the action or inaction that we've taken. And so anyone can achieve an outcome. What we want to be and create is the identity of the humans who are. So we don't just want to read one book, we want to be readers. We don't just want to have one speaking event, we want to be speakers, right? Big difference in up here in how we approach things when we come from the identity of. So we think a thought over and over again habitually. It becomes an I am statement. Some of the most powerful words in the universe come after I am. Empowering and disempowering. And so we think a thought, it becomes an I am. We are actually so powerful, we create habits to prove it to ourselves. And the habits are automated. Your brain loves automation. It wants to burn as few calories as possible. And so it doesn't know the difference between a habit that serves you and a habit that doesn't. And so it will just cue them right in. You have memorized them in your body, how it feels. Empowering, disempowering, and your brain's like, oh, she's thinking this, she's doing this. Let's go ahead and just put this automation on for her or him.
That is so powerful. So what I'm hearing you say is, without that purposeful, well, first of all, without having the awareness, a higher awareness of something else, we are on automation. And so we just continue in those cycles until we come up to a place or a time where something significant.
And it can be less than significant. To be honest with you, what can happen is you look around and you think, wow, I am doing this thing or saying this thing. I don't really want to do this anymore. I don't really want to say this anymore. So it could be not necessarily a huge thing. However, little hinges swing big gates. So the moment that you start recognizing the words that you're using to describe yourself and notice then the disempowering habits that are accompanying those to prove it to yourself you're always winning the game that you're playing. A big one that I see with people is overwhelmed. I am overwhelmed. And it's not they're experiencing the feelings of overwhelm. It's that they're claiming the identity of overwhelm. I am overwhelmed. Well, guess what? You win. I mean, you are that powerful, and you can look in your life. And I know so many women specifically that have experienced, men too. I work with the majority of women specifically that have experienced this, and they look around at the things that are going on in their lives, and yes, they can prove to themselves by looking around that they are overwhelmed. And so the moment they recognize that, they get to then step back and say, okay, I get to, and get to is a huge one. You have a choice. I get to rewire that pattern, that process, that way of being. So if I am overwhelmed now, who do I want to be instead? How do I want to feel instead? And how do I get to start showing up in that identity as I move, bless, and release this one?
That's really powerful, Mindy. I wrote down I am, and I do believe that I am are the two most powerful words that there are because of what follows them. And you said that just spot on. But I get to, I am, and I get to. Would you mind unpacking that a little bit further for people that might be hearing that for the first time, that might be going, oh, come on, you're saying when I say I'm overwhelmed that I'm choosing to put my identity in that? That's a bunch of baloney. I don't believe that. Or I don't get to, hey, I get to do, no, I have no choice. I have to do these things. Where's she saying I get to? For those people that have never dealt with that before, maybe I've never even heard that statement before.
Sure.
Can you unpack it a little more?
Absolutely. So let's start with I am and the claiming of, because this is really what this is, proclamation, isn't it? Like, I am. Yeah. And you will know the difference between, is this your identity or is this something that you're experiencing, right? I'm overwhelmed. Ask yourself how often you say it. Ask yourself then, and look around, what habits do you have? Does everything pile up? Are you procrastinating? Do you say yes to too many things? So then there's no time for any, and then you're, guess what? Overwhelmed. And there is no, I should have started with, I choose to back up and say, there is no shame or guilt here.
Right.
This is all about getting curious about who you're being and who you get to be. And you get to be whoever you want to be. And that's how we then shift into I get to. I had a client, I've said this for years and years and years, and words are containers. They are powerful containers, and they can give you energy or they can take it away. So when we say, I have to, it's very heavy. That's very heavy. I have to. And some people might be thinking, well, this is just a trick that you're playing. Bring it on. Bring on the brain trick so that you can start shifting into believing that you do have a choice in the way you show up. So maybe you're feeling like I don't have a choice. I had a client and she said, oh, I got to, right? I have to go pick up my kids. And I teased her. I said, well, don't you want to? Don't you like them? She goes, of course I do. It's a habit. We say I have to out of habit. And so ask yourself, well, wow, I get to go pick them up. Like, I get to pick them up from school. I have the time. This is where you start doing what we call reframing. So you recognize the words that you're using. You ask yourself, well, how does this make me feel when I use this word? Is this taking energy from me or is it giving energy to me? And if the words feel heavy and energy draining, how do we get to start reframing, aka rewiring, creating new neural pathways in our brain so that we can cast votes towards the version of ourselves that has choice and that gets to show up in something? And what can we control? Us. We can't control the circumstance, whether or not, right, soccer practice ends at 5:00. No control over that. What we do have control over is who we are being and how we are showing up as the, in this case, mom who's picking kids up from soccer practice, right? It's a choice.
Yeah.
We get to choose who we're being when we do it.
That is so good. It is so good. You're giving the power back to the person. As I hear you saying this, so
Yeah.
if I'm sitting here being coached by you, I'm hearing you empower me and giving me power back in my life. Whereas we are so programmed through life to feel this is just what's coming at us all the time, the airwaves and situations, circumstances where we feel powerless, like we don't have any power at all. We come out of, post COVID where that was such a thing where people were feeling like they had no control at all. And I would say, but you do have control. You have control about what you're thinking, what you're reading, what you're doing with your day. Now, I know that's a little extreme when you're on lockdown, but I just feel that empowerment coming from you as you are sharing this, that you are giving people back their lives. You're giving back to them. And I love that, Mindi. Go ahead.
That they get to choose. We get to choose continually. We can live at effect or we can live at cause. And when we live at effect, we get a list of excuses and reasons why nothing works out. And we do this. It's the weather, it's the stock market, it's that neighbor, it's this, it's everything is happening to me, not for me. And we are giving away our personal power. Again, no shame or guilt. This is about getting curious about who you're being and who you get to be.
Right.
Would it feel better? What would it feel like to say, okay, I'm going to shift from effect. I'm going to shift from pointing and having this list of reasons and excuses. I'm going to shift over into cause, where when I show up at cause, I get a list of results. I might not like them. However, I know that I controlled the only thing I could control, me and how I showed up. Now I can influence, right? We have influence. However, absolute control is over us. What we think, what we feel, what we believe, who we are being. And when we take back that power, everything shifts, everything changes. Because then we step into everything happens for me. What's the lesson I can learn here? Failure is feedback. We really start shifting and reframing the disempowering habitual thoughts and really positions that we tend to take.
That is so true. And I like how you talk about it being showing up from cause or showing up from effect. Bob Proctor, of course, taught us all of that, right? And we can have a life where we are the cause, or we can live in a defensive place where we're fighting off the effect. But there can be circumstances going on around all of us, and there are all the time. But we can be in that place of awareness, like you're talking about, where we're living from cause. And because of that, we can see the world differently and we can show up, as you put it, in the right state. We can show up in the right frame of mind. We can see things, as you put it. What's the lesson? What's the blessing and the lesson? What is happening in here? Instead of it driving me down in the hole, I can use it as a stepping stone to lift me up. I love that. Oh my gosh, and you're so good at explaining it and teaching it. So tell us about your coaching, about what you do, and how people will get in touch with you to learn more, because this is so exciting. And so I know that you do a lot of different things, but please take us on a little trip and show us and tell us what you do.
Sure, absolutely. My favorite way of supporting my clients who are established, successful female entrepreneurs is in my unlimited laser coaching. And so I have a year-long program where they get foundational sessions with me, at least 3 foundational sessions, a timeline techniques session, a hypnosis session, and a strategy session. We do all 3 of those. The strategy is, where am I now and where do I want to go? And what makes me want that? And we ask a lot of why questions when we're dreaming and casting that vision. Why? Why do I want that? Well, why do I want that? Well, why do I think that that's going to be a great thing in my life? Why is a beautiful question when we are dreaming and scheming and planning and really casting that vision and casting those dreams and goals. That is when I then say, okay, now we're going to put the why away. The moment that we ask why, when we are continuing to do something that's disempowering, continuing to be in a state of disempowerment, when someone says to you, or we ask ourselves, why am I doing that? The first thing that's going to come out of our mouth is because, and we're going to tell a story. And I'm not saying it's not a true story. I am saying it's a very well rehearsed story, and it's a limit. It's a limiting belief, and it's a limiting decision to continue to tell the story. And so when we shift from why into, when we recognize a limiting belief or a disempowering habit, into, when did I decide that?
That's good.
What makes me think that? And what could I do differently? How could I feel differently about this? How could I make a change in this? We get to start asking those questions instead and lay down the why, which just takes us down the rabbit trail of because.
Oh, I like that. Okay, you said, when did I, what were, and then what?
When
and then,
did I decide that? Yeah, when, what, how? Those are great questions to just shift you forward and get curious about. And this is the work that I do. Again, I work with successful female entrepreneurs. They are hitting their dreams and outcomes. They are making it happen, and they're human. And so they can get stuck in overthinking. They can get stuck in too much self-doubt. A little bit of self-doubt's good, right? It's healthy. Too much is where we then start limiting ourselves. What I recognize the most about the women that I work with is they aren't yet fully embraced in their soul aligned business. They have created amazing businesses off of someone else's hustle and grind model. And now they want to take some of their life back and still have a successful business. And so I come in to help them create the belief system that they get to do that. They get to have a business that serves them and is still financially successful and still has, $1 million launches and all those things when they create it around them and around what they want in their lives.
You said the word soul aligned business. Tell us a little bit about that. That is a powerful statement when you're talking about soul aligned. For someone that's going, well, I have a business, but nobody's ever talked to me about aligning my soul to it. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. This is where you are serving yourself first in your business. You're asking yourself, what lights me up? How do I want to serve my clients? How do I want to show up online, in the coaching container, as a speaker, on stage? How often do I want to do this? What do I want my message to be? And how is this going to serve me first? We get the overarching message that, self is selfish. However, let's get super cliche. We cannot pour from an empty cup. Mm-hmm. If you are burning the candle at both ends and your business is someone else's model that, yes, made you money, yes, and you're done, you're tired, you still want to bring in the income that you're bringing in and not in the way that you're doing it, you're out of alignment and you get soul tired when you're out of alignment. I know because I was there. Right. And so we check into the belief system and we look at the identity and who are we being? And you get to be a human, an entrepreneur who knows that they can create a business that serves them first so that they're at their highest and best to then be able to take their client, their customer, the audience to their highest and best.
That is so rich and so important. If we, as moms, we're both moms, I can so appreciate that because if we can't show up ready for our family, then that's going to show in everything that we do and even on the faces of our children, isn't it? It's going to show up in the atmosphere that we're walking in and living in. So when it comes to our business, making sure that there is that alignment of self to it, which is not selfish at all, having that self awareness and aligning is huge to make you really successful for the long run. And you can make lots of money, but if everything else is a mess, what good is it?
Exactly.
Yeah, I totally get it. That is amazing, Mindy. Now, the other thing that you shared that I really want to make sure that we touch on, just so if we can, you said hypnosis. Now, to some people, that is a scary word. To others, they might roll their eyes and go, oh, that doesn't work. And to somebody, they might even be saying, well, like, what is that? Like, I think somebody came to some party and was like saying they were hypnotized. What does that have to do with my business? So can you shed a little light on that? Because I know how important that little part is, but what is it? How did you manage to get involved in doing it? And how do you work that into your coaching?
Absolutely. So I love hypnosis. Hypnosis is where we align the conscious and the subconscious or the unconscious mind. So we align the two. Here's what happens. Our conscious mind is a goal setter. Our subconscious mind is the goal getter. If they are out of alignment, we're setting all kinds of goals and not achieving them. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Well, our subconscious is where that identity lies.
Yeah.
Here's a really powerful way to look at identity too, a reverse sort of identity. So I quit smoking 28 years ago. Okay. Thank you very much. I do not wake up in the morning and think, I wonder if I'll smoke today. It's not even a question because it's not in my identity. So this is where subconsciously, this is ingrained in me. Right? It is done. It's over. There's not even a question about that. So this is how we want to operate. We want to align our outside goals with our inside. We want the conscious and the subconscious to align. And when we do hypnosis, we get to bring those two things into alignment. And all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. It's not mind control. It's not the creepy guy with the watch. You're getting very sleepy. Those shows that you see, all of those people are willing participants, just as you. It's essential when you are using hypnosis for your business, for anything, that you are also willing. You are deciding to consciously and subconsciously align and choose XYZ. So for some clients, it's confidence. For other clients, it's worthiness. For other clients, it's making money. Like I can make as much money as I want. I don't have to stop at a certain level, right? It really just depends. I've worked with clients on quitting smoking, on weight release, on whatever, all kinds of things. And so what we do in hypnosis is we also speak in metaphors because the conscious mind wants to get in there and get in the way. And so when we start speaking in metaphors, then the conscious mind is like, huh? And the subconscious goes, oh, I hear you. And then we lock them in with each other.
Wow, that is so cool. So that's part of your coaching program.
It is. Every client that joins me gets at least one hypnosis session, at least one. And then I provide them with a hypnotic meditation that they get to rewire and prime their brain with consistently. So we have a strategy session. We have a releasing limiting beliefs and emotions session where we really get in there and kind of dig out all the junk. And then we have the hypnosis session to plant in all the goodness that you want, all the things that you want to create. And then the laser sessions are momentum. They are where we just keep moving forward based on the foundation that we've built.
Oh, that is awesome. It sounds like it moves quickly. Does it move quickly?
The laser sessions are 20 minutes and they go like this. Yes, yes, they do move very quickly.
Okay. So what type of, is that a group program? Is it
It's one-on-one? That's one-on-one program that I have. It's a 12-month container. And again, after those first 3 foundational sessions, then you get unlimited laser sessions. You book a session, we work on whatever it is. You get homework, aligned action that we decide on. I don't tell you what to do. We get curious about it and what's going to be the best to move you forward from this place. and to keep that momentum going. And then once the homework's done, you book another session and keep going. And I will tell you that not every session is some crippling, limiting belief or some bad thing. It's also, this is going so amazing. I want to keep showing up like this. Let's keep me in that direction. Like, I want to keep being this woman who believes this. Like, I want to double the sales of the next launch. Next year, I want to do this. And so we're very forward moving as well.
I love that. I love that. I'm getting excited just hearing you share all of this. That's awesome. And thank you for bringing that clarity in this world where people need to know like about the hypnosis, because I know that can be confusing for some folks when you were talking about, I can remember that back from when I was even in school, and there was somebody that would always come in and do that. And I remember staring at the thing and nothing happening. So I think it's important that we educate people on what it really is and how it works, so that the stigma of it is gone and people can embrace it and not be afraid of it or think it's just a joke.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Again, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. It is a state of very deep relaxation. We call it trance. It's like almost nap time, but you're never not in control. You are always in control. And I'm just a guide taking you where you have already told me that you want to go.
Yes, that's so beautiful and empowering. Okay, is there anything else that you want to talk about today?
Yes. Yes. One last thing that everyone can try on, and I will say that I don't just say try, because try is sort of a garbage word. Like, try to pick up a pen. You either pick it up or you don't. So try it on. I'm inviting you to try this on, and it is called mental rehearsal. Now, I only want you to try on mental rehearsal if you want to seriously have like gold medal outcomes in your life, because gold medal athletes use mental rehearsal, star musicians, top performers use mental rehearsal. And this is what I call visualization on steroids. So when we mentally rehearse, the most important thing is having a well-formed outcome, a result that we want. Now, the magic is you will start to become the human who, right? You'll start creating the identity, and the outcomes are just these great milestones as you're on the journey of expansion and limitlessness. And that's what I love about using mental rehearsal. You can use it for anything. Just know what you want. And when I say no, when we're in NLP and we say no, this is see it, hear it, feel it, taste it, smell it, like know it. Dive into a swimming pool of what you want. So you have an event coming up, yes? In Vegas.
Yes.
By the time this comes out, probably the event's over, but that's okay, because this is perfect for people. So you're going to be speaking on stage.
Correct.
Yes. This is a perfect thing to mentally rehearse. So you get to see yourself getting ready, the clothes that you're going to wear, how you're going to do your hair, the fragrance that you're going to put on, the self-talk, the positive, empowered self-talk, the music that you're listening to as you get ready, or the candle that you've lit, or whatever's going on. You're creating the container for your success. You see yourself getting ready, looking over your notes, walking on stage, killing it, right? Like standing ovation, right? Like just all the things. We see all the pieces. And while this sounds like it takes a really long time, it doesn't. You see it all happening. You hear it, taste it, feel it, smell it. You know it internally and externally. You know what's going on. You take it all the way to the end, which is whatever that outcome is, whether that's books sold or clients booked or other speaking engagements booked, like whatever the outcome is, that's where you take your mental rehearsal. Now we've created the container, you've gone through, you've showed up in it at your highest and best. The first thing that you're doing, your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So you've just walked it all the way through what you want to do. Now when you actually show up there, you have relieved some of the stress, because the brain's like, oh, we've been here. Yeah,
Yes.
we've done this already. It does not know the difference between real and imagined. That's the first thing. The second thing is, from start to finish, yes, you've rehearsed the perfect thing all the way in between. Here's the other thing about mental rehearsal. When you start to get good at it, when you start to practice it, you'll be able to mentally rehearse even when there's curveballs. Nothing's going to stop you from getting to that end outcome that you have said is XYZ. You'll keep showing up. You are standing in cause and you are creating what you want. You know that nothing, not a technical difficulty, not whatever, right, is going to stop you from getting here. So this is how we mentally rehearse. You can do it when you're going to be speaking. You can do it about trying a new recipe for dinner. I don't care what you do it about. Do it for yourself. Try it on to train your body and your brain to be the human who, because this is about creating the identity, right? We don't just want to read one book, we want to be readers. We don't want to show up and do one great speaking event and kill it. We want to be sought after speakers.
Right.
Big difference in that. So I have one magic to spread on the top of that for you. And this is the difference maker. When you're doing your mental rehearsal, we're not in the hoping, wanting energy. Wanting is the opposite of having. So we're not in the wanting energy, like, I hope, wish. That is full of disbelief already. You can feel it up here in your chest.
Yes.
Instead, we're going to be in having energy. We're going to be in our of course energy. What's of course energy? Of course energy is you do this consistently, whether it's daily, hourly, weekly. It is an empowered way that you show up without even thinking about it. So if you've got a dog, you walk it or you pet it. If you have kids, you kiss them goodnight or you say I love you. If you find some of course energy, maybe it's every morning you get up, first thing you do, brush your teeth. This is of course energy. Don't overthink it. Find your of course energy. Breathe it in, sit in your of course energy for a minute, and then copy and paste that onto your mental rehearsal. So you're in of course energy, and now you're mentally rehearsing, of course this is how it's going to end up. We're not wishy-hopey. We're in having energy already. We're creating it for ourselves. This is game changing to rewire your brain. I love mental rehearsal.
I love that. That is so good. Seeing the end from the beginning and walking it out as if, right?
Yes.
And I love how you called it the of course. Of course it's going to work out. Of course this is what's going to happen. You know, like brushing my teeth. Of course I'm going to put the toothpaste on the brush, right? So I love that. It breaks it down and makes it so simple. Thank you for sharing that. And I was just reading about that a few days ago, and I don't remember which Olympic athlete was talking about that. Many, like you said, but this one in particular was talking about when he won the gold. And the question was, how did you feel when you were standing there and they were, you know, the national anthem was playing and da 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 da. And his statement, I'm paraphrasing, was, I had done it hundreds of times.
Yes. Michael, it was probably Michael Phelps. When he won his gold medal, he had mentally rehearsed A, B, and C. So A, start to finish, perfection. B, C, water in his goggles. That's how he won. He had water in his goggles. It didn't matter because he had mentally rehearsed so many times. He had already shown up in his head with the water in his goggles. Nothing was going to stop him. No curveballs were going to stop him from hitting that lane first. And that's the power of it. It's amazing.
It is. Well, everything is out there. It's what are we going to draw to us? Exactly. Are we going to draw that to us, like you're talking about the of course, or are we going to draw to, I don't know. Well, it doesn't matter. I have to. What are we going to draw to us? That is so powerful. And you teaching that to successful women and men, but predominantly you said to women, how life-changing that is for them but how life-changing it is, everybody, that if you're being trained this and now you're going to affect the world around you, and that's how we change the world.
Yes, the ripple effect. It absolutely is all about the ripple effect. I was thinking that when you were saying as a mom. So as a caretaker, if you're not a mom, hopefully you can identify with caretaker, right? When we choose ourselves, when we do things for ourselves so that we can be at our highest and best, we're also modeling that, and that is huge. We want the next generation to know that they get to have choices. They get to choose themselves to be at their best, to then be there for everyone else. And that's huge for me. That ripple effect and that modeling is really a big deal. It's what it's all about.
Well, there's a lot of places with people that are not representing a ripple effect that is giving anything positive. And so when we show up in our best, when you show up, Mindi, as your best for your clients, which I can tell you are 200% are pouring into them, they're receiving that, and that ripple is not just stopping there, but you know they're paying it forward. But it's also just there in the atmosphere. It's just in that vibration that they're in, because that's what you're giving and pouring out of yourself, and there's no line of demarcation. So they take it on as they go out to the rest of their day and the rest of their world and their life. So that's so powerful that is what you are teaching people, how to show up for themselves, but how to show up for ourselves and change the world.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay, how do we find you? I mean, you and I found each other. That was a divine alignment, wasn't it?
Yes. You can find me on any social, but if you go to mindyhuebner.com, you'll find me there too. I'm on all the socials by my name.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for showing up here and giving so much increase. I mean, I definitely feel lighter. I feel like you have just brought increase into me today. I can sense that all those that are hearing and that are listening or even viewing on YouTube, that they are also going, breath of fresh air, water on dry ground. Thank you for showing people the way, Mindi, because it's making a huge difference. I'm so thankful you're here. Would love to have you come back again and tell us more of what's going on. If you are willing, we'd love to have you back.
Oh, that would be amazing. Yes, I would absolutely love that. And I have for everyone a guided, downloadable mental rehearsal for them. So I know you'll have that in the show notes. They don't have to figure, all they need to know is their outcome, and I'll walk them through how to practice that so that they can start rewiring their brain literally immediately. They can start.
Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Thank you. That's so generous.
Thank you.
It's all in the description, y'all. So all you got to do is look down, or I think usually down, maybe it's up.
You're at a point.
And if you just look down, whether you're watching or viewing, you'll see everything there. Let's take this message of hope that has been given to us today, and let's take it around the world. Let's see how fast we can do it. How are you going to do that? Well, remember, you're going to subscribe if you didn't, and then you're going to like it and share it. If we all share it, we are pushing forward such a positive, I am enough message that's going to change the world. So let's do that together and help take Mindi's message out to the masses all over. Thank you again, Mindi, for being here. It's been a treasure and a treat. And thank you, everybody who came here today. I know that if you're anything like me at all, pages and pages of notes I took today. I am going to use some of this stuff, even some of these like little bombs that she dropped here and there. I'm like, oh, I got to say this weekend. Such wonderful stuff. Remember, everybody, you are here on purpose with a purpose, by design, not by default. So go out there and continue to be the salt and the light everywhere you go. We'll see you next time. Bye.